post-game show presented by Tullamore Dew, and I feel like I'm in a state of shock, guys. I don't know how the Bears went from up 9 to down 5 and as quickly as they did. I mean, I had a whole – it's like you wrote your lead on deadline and you had everything going right, and now it's get me rewrite. Holy mother of God. That was a shocking way to lose a game that they had all but put away. Wow, that was awful.
Guys, I'm with you, Mully. I'm kind of depressed. I think the Bears just Detroited themselves. I think it's going to be calling now we Bearsed ourselves. I mean, that's 17 points in the fourth quarter you gave up. But, I'm sitting here looking at the stat sheet, and you look at it. The Bears doubled them up in time, 4 takeaways to 1 takeaway. You just think that's a win, right? But then, to me, what happened was the better team won. They found a way to beat a bad team, and the Bears played better than maybe what we thought. But I'm just in shock. I just can't believe what I saw. I was excited to come on the post-game show and talk about how the great Justin Fields played and Luke Getsy calling all these quarterback runs and getting them moving out of the pocket, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter happens and they can't hold on to a lead.
Yeah, it was 26-14, right? 26-14 with 4 minutes and 15 seconds left after a 14-play, 70-yard drive, and everything that had to happen for the Lions to win happened. It's an absolute meltdown, right? It's a meltdown by a bunch of people whose jobs are on the line to not melt down at that moment. And all the questions we asked in the pregame show, what could they do? Could Coach Eberflus outcoach the other sideline, Dan Campbell and his staff? Could Justin Fields make the plays at the end of the game? If they had all the takeaways, if they were right there to win the game, could they seal the deal? Were they good enough? But all the questions hang over their heads again, right? Not only hang over their heads, now we all got answers. Now we got answers to all the questions that we were asking leading into this game, right? There's a blown coverage down there, and you give up a touchdown, on a 1st and 10 to Williams in the end zone for 32 yards. It's the last thing you can do. It's the last thing you can do there. And again, another guy, right? Another guy who's we talked about in pregame, Jalen Johnson, right?
Yep.
Okay, can you make the plays? Can you do the cover? I don't know whose fault that was on that touchdown, but he was in the area again. So a meltdown. You don't even know what to say. The losing continues. There is a saying in football, Pat and Mullen. You guys know it well. Losers lose, right? And Pat just said they Lions themselves. Well, not the Lions anymore, right? They're changing that culture down there. They're finding ways to win. The Bears are finding ways to lose, and I hate to say this, as usual.
I got to tell you, I was sitting there watching the game, and I thought the defense is putting on like an unbelievable, like Eberflus, greater than Ben Johnson, right? He's holding that team to 14 points until there's 4 minutes left in the game, 4:15, as you say. And then somehow they give up 17 points. And any good feeling you had about the afternoon that they had, it comes back to, Jalen Johnson, you said it, or Olin, in the pregame. You got to make plays on the ball. You got to get the ball. He dropped an interception that would have been a touchdown. And you didn't think that mattered because they got 4 takeaways, and they were going to win the takeaways. And when they win the takeaways, they're a lot better. They're 0-20 when they lose the takeaways. And, I mean, I'm just sitting here. I don't even know how it happened. I guess it comes down to coaching. I don't know who else to blame. But how do you lose a 9-point lead with 4 minutes left and then get beaten by 5? I mean, it's just it's such a swing and so blanking crazy that it's hard to put it into any kind of context.
And, well, Olin, you talked about it. You wanted to see Justin Fields at the end of the game kind of win a game. Well, I think what you saw today was Jared Goff go out there and win the game. He outplayed him. I mean, to do what he did with having 3 interceptions and coming back in the fourth quarter and putting that together, that's what a pro should do. That's what a really good quarterback in the NFL should do. And he did it. He made all the throws when he had to at the end. Some of the defense was a little, they're playing back a little bit, and they had a busted coverage, like you said, Olin. But that's what you would want to see Justin Fields do. But Jared Goff did it to the Bears. And I think that's what happened in the fourth quarter. Jared Goff, being the pro he is, bounced back from the tough beginning and stayed true. I think you saw the sideline view when he got up and started dapping everybody up on the sideline when they were down, like, we're going to come back, we're going to get this, and he went out there and did it. And that's something I want to see Justin Fields do. I want to see the Bears do that. But, this Lions team, we talked about how good they are at the beginning of this morning, and they proved it. And that's what good teams do. I mean, Olin, like, I go back to the Arizona game or games that we shouldn't have won if we got beat statistically, but we pulled them out when we were the better team. And that's what happened today. That's what I saw.
And when we learned how to win, but going back to what you're talking about, in the end zone for that touchdown to Williams, that's Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's two guys, whoever busted that coverage, those are two veterans back there that had a miscommunication. And then even we go to the last drive where there's 30 seconds left, 2 timeouts. You think with Cairo Santos, that's a lot of time, Pat.
Yep.
That guy is money, right? I say I get down the field. It was the drive before that, guys, that has me wondering. Right, run the ball up the middle twice. They score. They got all the momentum. You can't give them the ball back. And Justin Fields throws what seems like a nice ball to Tyler Scott, and Tyler Scott runs a good route. And I don't know whose fault that is, slowing it down, whatever. DJ Moore, Mooney, Cole Kmet at that time, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Right. If you ask me at that moment, not only that, not only win the game at critical moments, extend the drive at critical moments. Right. And I think. I don't know whose fault that is, but Getsy, instead of keeping on and it might have been a zone read, I couldn't totally tell, but instead of keeping the spread field zone reads, you run up the ball up the middle twice with Herbert.
Yeah.
Right? I want the ball in Justin Fields' hand. If I'm Ryan Poles, I'm upstairs screaming, what the F are you doing? I got to put the ball in Justin Fields' hands so I know if I have to take a quarterback or not. Right? Like, I am not happy if I am running that building, Pat and Mully, I am not happy with the play calling on that second to the last drive. I am pissed off right now, and I am talking to the coaches about it. I need to figure out if this is the guy. Why did you take the ball out of his hands for 2 downs?
Yeah, that's a great, man. I don't understand it either. I'm screaming at the TV like, this is your guy, like you said, Owen, this is your guy. What have you been successful with early running the ball? Why don't you go back to your call sheet and see what you've been successful with and run those plays? Those were just 2 runs that just made no sense to me. Give Justin Fields the option to keep it, hand it off, whatever. Put them in conflict instead of just handing it off and running up the middle. It didn't seem like to me, Olin, that it was a zone read. It seemed like to me it was more of just a straight handoff. Let's try to just kind of grind this out and get, run the clock down instead of doing what got you to that position to win the game, to put yourself in the position to win the game.
Montez Sweat had a sack, and it was at a key point, and I thought, there's a closer. There's a guy closing a game. And I don't understand. When you watch DJ Moore, that guy is about as good a yak receiver as I've ever seen. I mean, he pulls his leg out of a guy holding it and pushes for a first down. He is just a very good yards after catch guy. And I don't understand why, as you say, Olin, he's not the guy you're throwing to. Cole Kmet isn't the guy you're throwing to. And maybe even Mooney I would throw to. But I don't even remember Tyler Scott making a play in the game. And I apologize if he did a lot.
Oh, he did. He fumbled.
But I'm saying I had the worst broadcast I've ever watched in my life. I don't know if anyone else had to go through this, but my I think it's AT&T Uverse. I don't know what the hell it is, but it was like I feel motion sickness because it kept cutting out, and you were watching the game, but there was this kind of weird kind of gap going on in the thing, and it kept glitching. And I'm like, oh, this is okay. Well, I guess at least I can see the game. Look how well the Bears are playing. And then the last 4 minutes, I nearly threw up from motion sickness or something.
Yeah, it's just
we all almost threw up. We all
100%. Yes.
Watching the game. It wasn't the motion sickness, right? It was just the Chicago Bears. Pat, the thing we used to say when we started playing some decent football in our career, we used to say to each other on the sideline, let this team beat themselves. They will when we're playing bad teams, right? Let them make the mistakes. Let them find a way to lose. Just keep playing. Just keep doing things the right way. And it looks like the Lions are there with this team, right? With like you're saying with golf, shaking everybody's hand. The resolve on the sideline that, look, I know everything looks bad, but we're going to win this game. We'll find a way. Just keep going. This team we're watching, they'll beat themselves. This team we're playing, they'll find a way to beat themselves, make the critical mistakes, and lose. And that, when we keep talking about, yes, Ryan Poles is making the right decisions on players. You cannot argue that that was a talent. The Bears looked talented enough today against a talented Lions team, right? They looked like they matched up pretty damn good with until 4 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. The culture of losing right now, finding a way to lose, and then, again, not finding out if your quarterback is the guy, because he did everything we thought. You know, when you talk about what will Justin Fields be, I thought the only question after this game, guys, was going to be, can he do this for 5-6 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Right? He had 104 rushing yards, 169 passing yards. That's the numbers he needs to win games. But then with the second to last drive, you took the ball out of his hands, and then the last drive, and then he threw it up to Tyler Scott, and then the last drive, for whatever reason, with Darnell Wright, with Aiden Hutchinson out there, Darnell Wright had a good game. But for whatever reason, you're not chipping Aiden Hutchinson. You're chipping on the other side with Cole Kmet. That's baffling to me. But then you get the sack fumble.
That sums it up right there. And that's still, 0 division wins for Eberflus, right?
Hey, Eberflus hasn't won 2 games in a row since he started as the Bears head coach. Eberflus needed to I think he needed to go 4-3 in order to ensure that he would not have the worst 2-year record in the history of the Chicago Bears. Right now, he leads Abe Gibron in that percentage. So, I think he'd have to win out now or win, maybe could afford to lose a game. But it looks like he's going to be literally the worst coach in the final in a 2-year period in Bears history. And you can't win 2 in a row, and you can't win in the division. 0-16 now against teams with a winning record.
It's just bad. I mean, what Ryan Poles said, we're going to take the North, right? They haven't even won a single game yet, which is just, how do you keep your coach when that's your mantra that you preach to everybody that we're going to take the North, and you can't even win 1 game? I mean, that's hard to sell. They're
going to take the North out to dinner.
Yeah.
A joke.
Yeah, I just know. It's hard to sell.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sure Coach Eberflus, when he's alone with Ryan Poles in his office, is looking him straight in the eye and saying, look, you tanked last year, right? So that record's also on you, right? You traded away all my best players. If you look at the roster you gave me, how was I supposed to win games? Now here we are, like we just talked about, and we talked about these last 7 games, judging Justin Fields, judging Coach Eberflus. Why? I gave a guy $100 million. I lined him up on your defensive line, right? You got all these. I drafted the secondary. You got all those guys in the back. And like Mully said, man, until the end of the 4th quarter, this defense, you were Denny Green them. You were crowning their ass, right?
Yeah.
You were crowning these guys. You guys are playing lights out. I thought Eberflus was out coaching Johnson. It was fun to watch, and it's horrible to have to do this post-game show, right? Because I'm watching the game, and I got this thought in the back of my head, man. How are they going to lose this game?
Yeah.
Right. I hate to say that, but I'm watching the Chicago Bears playing, Pat, and I'm asking myself, how are they going to lose this game? Right. What are they going to do? And sure enough, man, they caught Williams caught the ball in that end zone, and I said every F word on, at the TV because I couldn't believe it. Right? I couldn't believe it, and I just had this bad feeling they were going 3 and out, and I only burned 10 to 15 seconds, lose a yard, throw a bomb to a rookie wide receiver, and act like it's his fault. Right? That's what they want us to do. Act like it's the rookie's fault. Okay, if that's what you want us to do.
Yeah. The other thing is, there was no excuse to lose. When you were up like that at that point in the game, we were kind of, texting with our show group, and that was what one of them said. No excuse to lose. And I agreed, none. You're going to win this game. And I never saw it coming. I don't know. I thought Goff was like the old Goff. I thought he was terrible, and I don't know how he came back and won that game.
Yeah, but Olin, what you said there about you thought they were going to lose, or how are they going to end up losing? My feeling is they have that on that sideline. They have that in that locker room. And how do you get rid of that? How do you change that? I think one of the players has to step up and make plays. The coach has got to coach better, but you get bad teams like that. It just seems like they have that feeling as well on the sideline, and that's why it starts ending up happening that way. And it was just, man, that just Oh, it's just aggravating. I just can't believe they lost it. I mean, you're sitting there watching that game. I'm so excited to come talk to you guys and talk about Justin Fields, like I said, and Luke Getsy, and then all of a sudden that happened, and it's really depressing, man. I'm sick of the Bears losing. I can't stand it, and I wish they would take it the same. Well, they do take it the same way, but just stop losing, please. It's driving me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Listen, over a month ago, right? Over a month ago, 4 minutes, 11 seconds left in the third quarter, 15-play drive, the Bears go up 28-7 on the Broncos. Right?
Yep.
This is a problem. Right? This is a problem. And even when you're watching that game, you're up 28-7 with 4 minutes left in the third, and you're thinking, we can still lose this game.
Yep.
Right? We can still find a way to lose this game. And again, I just got to say the character is the same, right? The fumble's the same from the same guy.
Yeah.
Right? It happens to the same guy. And that's why if I'm Ryan Poles, I am on that plane. I am talking to Getsy and Eberflus in that room. And I'm Kevin Warren. They got to answer me the question about the play calling on the second to the last drive. They got to tell me why they took it out of his hands, because hey, even if it's the wrong play call, Pat and Mully, it's not the wrong play call for the time, right? I need to know if this guy can do the things everyone knows. I mean, Coach Eberflus announced it on the podium. He has to play. He has to be consistent. He has to play well in 2 minutes. He has to play well in red zone. He has to seal games. Well, give him the chance.
Yep. That's a great point.
I wrote down at one point, Fields has he's got it all. He's got all the tools. Maybe he needs better coaching, but he's a legit player. And then that happened. And I'm not blaming him, but how did that happen? I still don't know how they lost that game. It's just
that guy is really fun to watch, man. When he is rolling, that guy is fun to watch play football.
Yep.
He is capable of a lot. There was the one. He rolled to his left, pressed the line of scrimmage in the first quarter, and delivered the ball to Moore. You remember that throw?
Yes.
Yep.
There's not a lot of guys in the NFL who can make that throw.
Yes.
Listen, put him one-on-one with whoever 55 was for the Lions at the end of the line of scrimmage there late in the game, and let's see if we can get a first down and run the damn clock out, right?
Yep.
Like Derek Barnes. That's who Derek Barnes had Justin Fields on the zone read. Let's set that up again late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you got to blame the defense too. I mean, I blame Getsy with the play call and they were taking it out of his hands, but the defense giving up 17 points in the fourth quarter, that's unacceptable as well. So that's coaching on the defensive side and players not stepping up, making plays and busting coverages, and it's just aggravating. This team, they just don't have the players to make the play. Aiden Hutchinson, right, goes and makes the strip sack. That's what you need. You need players in certain situations to step up. Jared Goff delivers the ball on a busted coverage in the end zone on a 32-yard touchdown. And the Bears just don't have those players that are making those plays in the critical times, and it's just getting really aggravating.
All right, 312-644-6767. We've had our chance to talk about the horrors. We will take your calls next. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about what we learned and what we didn't learn, and how whatever conclusions we had were almost robbed of us, but we'll come back with your phone calls. 312-644-6767. It is the Great Clips postgame show presented by Tullamore Dew.
Justin Fields returns, but the Bears still end up falling to the division-leading Lions. They're now 3-8 on the season. Keep it here for full reaction of their loss from all of our shows and team of Bears experts.
Too easy. It's the pregame show. It is the oh my God, hold on a second. I'm losing my mind, guys. It is the Great Clips postgame show presented by Tullamore Dew. I'm on the pregame show still. I got to tell you, that was too easy. That play, that drive. I mean, the Bears go up by 9, and they drive down the field. What was it, like a minute and 17 seconds? I didn't write down the time, but it was fast. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're within 5, and you got a real serious problem on hand.
Yeah, and then earlier in the game, they gave up, 75-yard touchdown in 76 seconds? And then they go back and turn the ball over with 15 seconds run off the clock with their next series. You know, that's how you lose the game. You handle the clock for the most of the game, but when you need to handle it the most important time, you can't do it.
Yeah,
it was a minute 16, Mully. Just not good. They went right down the field, scored, and like we're talking about, the big play was a miscommunication. Whatever happened on that play, they had 2 guys. I mean, they're going to put the cornerback. He has to make a decision. Jalen Johnson chose low, and they went high on him, right? It's like a levels read for golf, and he hits it. He hits that touchdown. It's just way too easy at that time when that whole defense, the cover 2, we've known it long enough. It's just built to make them go to field and waste time, right? Yep. If you make them go with 4:15 left, if you make them take 3 minutes to score, you got a very good chance of winning that game. So I don't know what the chances are at that time. Everyone has the stats and the percentages nowadays. What's the chances for the Lions to win the game, right? To win the game when the Bears go up 26-14 after Cairo Santos' field goal. I'm sure it's pretty low. The team playing on the field has to basically beat themselves. And that's what we saw. That's what we saw happen, just like we saw it happen against the Broncos, right? So this team has an MO. They have an identity. Unfortunately, it's not a very good one.
312-644-6767. We'll start with Steven. Steven is listening on the Odyssey app. Hey, Steven.
Guys, I'm so numb right now. I was really looking forward to seeing this team finally, get the win within the NFC North, and somehow they conceded 17 points in the last 3 minutes, playing scared to lose. And I just don't understand if this doesn't get somebody fired, whether it's Eberflus or Getsy, or one or the other at least. And probably more than likely Eberflus will try and save his own ass by blaming it on, Getsy, on that next to last drive where they only needed 10 yards. And you went 2 runs up the middle for nothing, and then you threw that deep ball, and we can blame it on Tyler Scott for maybe stuttering on that one for, half a step there. But the point is, Luke Getsy has no feel for the game. He doesn't trust neither Bagent nor Fields, and today was pretty much evident about his play calling, and that cannot be accepted. Somebody has to take a fall tonight, and if Ryan Poles is dead serious about, taking back that North, that infamous speech he made, he has to have some sort of a spine to tell one or the other that says, I can't have you coach this team any longer, because this was a masterclass in how Eberflus coaches and lost almost 22 other games that we've seen before. And to accept this sort of mediocrity, I think speaks volume about Poles and even, going up the ladder and maybe start pointing a finger at Kevin Warren as well. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks, Steven.
Well, let me say this, guys. If they fire a coach, I mean, they're going to run out of coaches, right? We've already fired a defensive coordinator and a running back coach. They're not going to be able to fill the spots. Players are going to be coaching themselves. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is right now, guys. Honestly, that's why I've been kind of quiet. I'm just disappointed. Can't believe it happened. I'm sitting there, like you said, Mully. You're writing your narrative in your head of, what you're so excited to talk about, what you saw for 3 quarters, and then this happens. And I just, man, that locker room has to be. I wouldn't want to be in there.
Oh, it's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, after if you put the season together, if you put all the numbers together, the caller has a good point that someone should be fired, right? If you're going to change, if you're going to change the culture, if you're going to change, and you're going to say, look, what's going on here, it's just not good enough, right? It's
No.
not good enough what's going on here, Pat. To your point, we'd be out of coaches after a while. You would think that if Coach Eberflus would have got fired, Alan Williams would have been interim head coach, right?
Right.
So after this game, who do you fire? Do you give, if you take Getsy out, does Janoko call plays, right?
Right.
Young offensive coordinator. Those are just the things, but eventually something has to, you have to shake something up at Haugh Hall, right? Eventually these kind of losses, you have to make a statement there that all this losing, that this numbers, I don't know if it's ever been this bad there at Haugh Hall with this much losing, with not winning games back to back, with all the stats that Mully tells you all about what they're going through up there. I don't know, and guys, I'm rewatching the second to last drive here, and on the second play, Justin Fields, that is a quarterback read. I'm gonna just say this, man. If you want to be the guy, just keep it. Just keep it, even though the guy's reading it. Keep it and beat. Again, I said his name earlier, and it's the same guy. That's the guy that Derek Barnes playing that quarterback keep, and they got Kokomet releasing and blocking the cornerback. Just keep it there. I want to see you make that play, right?
Yeah,
I want to see him make that play.
Earlier, right?
Like we talked about earlier. If you want to blame the fourth-round rookie, 5'11", 185 pounds, Tyler Scott, if you want to put it on his shoulders, right, and say, well, he's got to keep running there. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, then you're saying that, like we went through earlier in the pregame, you can say that about 8 different guys, right? 8 different guys. You can say that about it, but you're just trying not to put it on one guy's shoulders.
Yep.
Let's try George. He's in Naperville. Hey, George.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Mully. Olin, I don't want you to feel bad because I was swearing just as much as you were. And I just couldn't believe what I saw. A good coach puts his players in a position to be successful. I don't see that out of either one of those guys. And as far as I'm concerned, they should bring in Jim Harbaugh. I don't know why they don't. He's been successful everywhere he's been. And he went to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. So he's had all kinds of quarterbacks he's developed. He's the guy that should be the next coach. Let these guys have enough rope to hang themselves the rest of the year. The Bears aren't going to fire anybody in the middle of the season like a head coach or offensive coordinator. So you might as well just keep them. To me, Fields has proved himself the way he played today. A lot of heart. Yeah, he fumbled at the end, but when he gets run over by his own tackle trying to get out of the way, I mean, I looked at, like you said, the play calling and that second to last time they had the ball, 2 plays up the middle. I mean, what are you doing? And then you try to throw a bomb, and Scott didn't have a good game. He fumbled the ball away, and then he slowed down and then tried to speed up, and it was out of his reach. I just look at the coaching, and they're not putting their players in a position to be successful.
Mark is in Wisconsin. Let's hear from Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hello, gentlemen. I'm in the same boat you all are. Thank God I live alone if the words were coming out of my mouth. You knew right away, as soon as they took a 9-point lead, that they were going to lose. I mean, that's just the feeling I have with them these days. I think Justin Fields played a really good game, but he can only do what the coaches give him. When he does try and do things on his own, he seems to be somewhat successful. If they don't do something about Eberflus, and especially Getsy, then I think Mr. Warren and Mr. Poles better be looking at each other in the mirror and just saying, what are we doing here? Just like you guys said, this is the worst losing. I mean, I'm not going to go in, God, I've been watching since so-and-so, but this is like watching them back in the 70s. Nothing could go right, and there's nothing they can do. They just step on their own toes every time. And I don't blame it on the players all the time either. I mean, they only do what the coaches scheme and tell them to do. And, obviously, no, we don't have all Pro Bowl players, but, there are guys out there giving all they've got. And, is Justin Fields perfect? No, but look at the coordinators the poor guy's had. He's had a bunch of losers the whole time he's been here. If they let him go, he's going to go someplace else and be a superstar. And that's just a typical Chicago. That's what they do with everybody. I guess that's all I had to say. It's just it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I just think this city right now after that loss, this might be kind of the worst way to lose, right? You're getting so excited sitting on your couch, then you start cussing at the TV, and you get so disappointed, and to see a team that had this game in hand lose it the way they did. And I just would love to know what Ryan Poles is thinking. What the direction of this team is going in his mind. Obviously, they're not winning, but what he wants to do with it. I do wonder if anybody will be fired, if there will be any changes made. If this continues the rest of the year, to me, there's no way you can sell Matt Eberflus to another locker room, to this city, to the McCaskies, to Kevin Warren or anybody. I don't see it moving forward with him if it continues this way at all.
No, not at all. There's just no way you can justify it, right? No. And I think the coaches would understand after these losses if they got fired, right? We all know how this business works.
Yep.
Right? We would be on the bus right now, Pat, looking at each other like, man, this is not good.
No.
Right? So someone's going to go soon.
Yep.
We should talk about it. I remember 2009 when everybody was talking about should Lovey get fired. Like we would talk about it. We would know, right? We would know like we're close to getting our coach fired here.
Yep.
Right? The way we're playing, what we're doing, it's not good enough, right? And I'm going back to this last drive, guys, and on that 3rd and 9 play, DJ Moore may be double covered, but to me, if they're in cover 2-man, I'm going to him if he's either open or Justin Fields should know it's cover 2-man. And like you guys know, in cover 2-man, guess who has the quarterback? Nobody. Right? So to me, it's a bad call by the Lions. And Justin Fields has to make that play there. And again, I don't care if Tyler Scott wins off the ball or not. I am not going to him. Right? I am not going to him at that moment. So that it's twofold here. Obviously, there's always more stories than one, but that's what I'm talking about. From Ryan Poles, I'm in there asking him questions, and I'm getting answers like I'm telling you guys. I'm getting answers from Getsy right now. I say, no, he could have kept the ball on that second play, and on the third play, it was cover 2-man, and he could have run it or went to DJ Moore.
That's interesting. I'm glad you went back and watched that to be able to explain it better, because I was looking forward to doing that. But you got it in. Yeah, that's great. You've got to ask Justin Fields what the heck was he thinking. That's interesting. But what's your point about the uncomfortableness, like on the bus or just even in the building? I mean, those days coming in after losses like that, nobody talked to anybody. You knew something was going on. You knew there were a lot of thoughts and nobody was really, we talked about it, but you didn't hear it from anybody in the building other than that. But it was just really uncomfortable when you lose games like this and your team is going in this direction and you really, because you get close with your coaches. I liked all my coaches, and I hated to see them get fired. And it's just a hard situation to be in when you know that their livelihood is in kind of your hands as well, and you're working together. But it's just, man, it's an awful feeling in that building. It is, because when someone gets fired, it means we're all not doing our job.
Yeah, right? It sucks, man.
Yep.
It sucks when you're in there playing. It sucks losing games like this. It sucks being analysts going over games like this, right? It sucks 100%. Talking about guys' jobs. It sucks when they're doing bad. It's just it was haunting you that this is what the hell we were going to have to talk about.
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, I think you can predict how the fans are going to respond. And the response isn't going to be, gosh, that was a shame. They were so close. It's going to be next. And that is every NFL city, every NFL team.
I don't know about you guys, but how many texts do you get after the game? And mine are just fire everybody, fire the coaches, fire everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I get it. The frustration in this city is very high after the last few years.
All right, let's try. I think we have John. He's in Davenport, Iowa. Hey, John.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Been better.
Good.
Yeah, we're doing awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it was Montgomery that beat us. I'll take that. But I did want to say on the Luke Getsy front, there's 3 drives I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the first one in first series of the year, and he went for it on 4th down after that kind of weird play on 3rd down, and then the series after Bajent had that 40-yard bomb against the Chargers, and the next 2 plays were run plays. And that's kind of how the second to last drive here felt. And I'm like, it's more like he's a fine coach, but let's ask him about that. Let's just be like, just be accountable. That was a bad set of decisions, because either you run it on third down and take their last time out, or you go for the win. So those are my thoughts. Hope you guys have a great day. Watching Hester highlights with my son this morning. Beautiful game.
I'd rather be watching that right
ever,
now.
Right? Devin Hester was the greatest ever, man. So yeah, those are really good highlights to watch. You know, as far as eventually, like Pat, when people say like the people in charge of the building, why is it so important that they know football? It's because of that, right? Like you have to get down to the point of, okay, really what happened here on the field, right? What happened? Who is responsible for this? Is it Getsy? Is it Fields? Are we chasing our tail here with this quarterback? Why wasn't it more open? Why is it more spread offense? Why not just give him a chance to run what he ran at Ohio State? Questions like that are things you have to ask. And to the caller's point, even what Getsy will tell you, like, look, I'm calling plays for a free agent, college quarterback here out of Shepherd College, right? I'm sure that's what he would say. So it's just there's so much goes into the details of what happened on every play. It's hard to pinpoint when you're not in the building what the hell is actually going on. But I will tell you what is going on, what we all know. They do lose games in the most miserable fashion.
That's a fact.
All right, we got to take a quick time out. You're listening to the Great Clips post-game show presented by Tullamore Dew. 312-644-6767 is the number here on The Score.
Tomorrow is Football Monday on The Score, with all our shows joined by an unprecedented team of experts reacting after the games, including Olin Kreutz at 7 a.m., number 1 wide receiver DJ Moore at 8, Brad Biggs at 9.
Flag at the 45-yard line. Plenty to dance about for Justin Fields as he maneuvered his way for a 30-yard rush. We'll see if it stands.
Yeah, it stood, and in fact, there were 5 yards added to it for a defensive hold. So that was a great moment, and it was a fun moment for Justin Fields with the little dance there. And I guess the over/under on his yards rushing was 43.5, and he wound up over 100 yards. So that run obviously helped a ton. Oh, boy, if that could have been later in the game, right? So not complaining about anything that happened there, mind you, but really a difficult finish for the Bears, who somehow figured out a way to go from up 9 to down 5 by the time the game ended in 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, if you take his whole game, and Olin, you mentioned it, like he's fun to watch. I thought he had one of his best games. He played great in the pocket to throw to DJ Moore for the touchdown, slid up in the pocket, kept his eyes downfield, delivered that. I thought Getsy, for the most part until the end of the game, called a nice play with using his legs. I think he had I wrote down over, I think it was maybe 10 or 11 QB runs, not just scrambles, but zone reads or called runs that he executed really, really well. And I thought our story coming into this post game was going to be about how good he played, how good he looked, how Getsy called a great game. But, Olin, you mentioned at the beginning at the pregame that it comes down to the fourth quarter. That's where you get paid and why you get paid as a quarterback. And this team just did not produce in the fourth quarter. I'm not putting it all on Justin Fields. The defense, fell through too. Getsy's play calling was bad, but, you want to see your quarterback be able to, finish the game at the end of the game.
It's crazy, really, when you take a good look at it, right? Because all week we're trying to figure out what is the missing piece. And I remember I heard Dave Wanstead and Matt Bowen mention it, and I went back and just took a look at it, and it's right there in front of your face, right? It's making the plays at the end of the game to win them, being a difference maker in crunch time. I mean, guys, if we just talk about plays, you remember the play after Darnell Wright's holding calls and Baum got beat? He slid up in the pocket and found DJ Moore for a touchdown. I mean, that is a big-time play, man. I mean, that is really like we're saying about this guy. Like, what is missing is just, well, there's two things. There's two pieces missing if we're just talking about why do you continue with Justin Fields as your quarterback. It's winning late in the game, and the second piece is can he, because that was a physical football game we watched, man. The Lions and the Bears are getting after each other. Can he do that for 5 weeks in a row, right, Pat? Like that, it was hard to do, to take those hits. And the refs are not, when you're running the ball like that, the refs are telling you, when you're a running back, they're not protecting you like a quarterback. Right? He got hit a lot today.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be like the narrative. Like, what a great game, but can he continue that for the rest of the season? Because we've seen he gets injured and he's missed a lot of games because of injuries. But now we're talking about something different. But I just wish it was a win, and that was our question that we had about this game and this team.
All right, we've got to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with your calls, 312-644-6767. That is the telephone number, and you are listening to the Great Clips postgame show presented by Tullamore Dew.
Justin Fields returns, but the Bears still end up falling to the division-leading Lions. They're now 3-8 on the season. Keep it here for full reaction of their loss. We're back with more of the Great Clips postgame show. Great Clips, it's going to be great. Presented by Tullamore Dew. When it's game time, it's telly time. Now here are your hosts, Olin Kreutz, Patrick Manley, and Mully from the Mully and Haugh Show on Sports Radio 670 The Score.
Yes, welcome back to the Great Clips postgame show presented by Tullamore Dew. And Olin, I wanted to ask you, you said you were going to keep a close eye on some of the battles on the offensive front, the defensive front. Mm-hmm. What jumped out to you about the moving of the linemen, about when Lucas Patrick went down? What was what did you notice about that?
Well, they were having, as you pointed out in our text chain, they had a couple pre-snap issues before Lucas went out. But obviously, when you go to what would be your third string center this year, right? Because it was Cody, Lucas, and then it was supposed to be Doug Kramer, right? And then you brought Feeney in, and this guy came in late. And as loud as it was up there in Detroit, you're going to have some struggle with the cadence, with the snap count, with everyone getting on the same page and trying to time up this guy's silent count. When you change the center, you change the timing of the silent count. So you knew they're going to have some problems. But Mully, like you're saying, until there's 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game, they overcame all of it and we're looking pretty damn good. Right? Yeah. And they won like every battle in the trenches. And again, I'm going through this film, and on that last play, guys, Aiden Hutchinson probably should get a chip over there. Darnell Wright probably does get beat. But I don't know if Fields is too deep in his drop there. Like, I don't think you're supposed to be at 11.5 yards or 11 yards from the line of scrimmage. So I don't know if he's deeper than Darnell Wright expects him to be. And again, late in the game, it just looks like their details fall apart and they're all not on the same page. Someone's not making the play. Someone's not being Pat. Here it comes again. Someone's not being a multiplier.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. It's just, you can blame two players or blame everybody there because you talked about Darnell Wright. Was the depth right? And then why the heck are you not helping out on their best pass rusher? I know that didn't really, that to me that's coaching as well, right? You need to, the situations. All right, if we do get into a situation where we're down and we need to throw the ball, what are we going to do at the end of the game? We're going to double Aiden Hutchinson, right? We're going to take care of that guy so he can't beat us. And what happens at the end? He gets a strip sack and the safety and all that stuff. But, there's a lot of people to blame, but I just, like you said, 4:15 to go in the game, they're up 12, and they end up losing this thing. And it's just a lot of moving parts. I was going to cuss there. A lot of stuff had to happen to make that happen.
That's outstanding.
Yeah,
it's very hard sometimes not to cuss on the radio because it's probably
especially after that.
We
need a podcast after that game, man. We need a podcast.
Yes.
But what's funny, Pat, is in drops, right? A lot of quarterback drops are 10 yards, right? When it's deep drops. Yep. In that sack, it's like 10 and a half yards, and that's how you lose.
Yep.
Like, I hate to say that, but it's the details at the end of the game. And like you're saying, why is Cole Kmet, let me look for the guy's name since I don't know it. Why is he chipping Charles Harris?
Yeah.
There's a guy over there who was a second pick in the draft and is a master at dancing. We have to chip Aiden Hutchinson.
Yes. Yeah.
Did they not hear the pregame show?
Yes. Dan Pompei didn't fly to Detroit to interview Charles Harris. Right? The Hall of Famer. He went to interview Aiden Hutchinson. Even Dan Pompei knows you need to chip Aiden Hutchinson in that moment.
Even Dan Pompei. You are beautiful. And I think that the takeaway here from all the stuff that we've been talking about is that anything good that was going on, anything that you felt was a positive, anything that seemed like they had overcome something, it all just fell apart in the final 4 and 15 from the point where the Bears scored the field goal to whatever it was, 3 minutes left when they got their touchdown, which again, a minute 16, just absurd. But then that set them up after the Bears possession. It's just like no matter what you liked earlier in the game, you can't somehow get away from 17 points allowed in the final 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's just all soured. Like, I was excited to talk about Tyreek Stevenson, right?
Yeah.
It's his first pick. knocks the ball out on the kickoff.
Nice fumble.
They get turnovers. All right, we're exciting. The hits principle's going. Justin Fields looked very good. I thought Luke Getsy for the first 3 quarters called a darn good game using Justin Fields the right way. That's the stuff I was all excited to talk about. And then this just happens. Then we got to just, everything's soured. All the good stuff is soured. It's unfortunate that we're here doing this, and the Bears are doing this to themselves. And Olin, you started it by, what was this going to happen? How are they going to lose this game? And they did.
And it's almost like you want to ask Coach Eberflus, what is your situational work like, right? Because you have to put your team in these moments during the week. Like we're up by, 6 or 3, or we're down by 3, and we have to win the game. And you just constantly got to drill what actually happens. And the reason why you talk about Justin Fields in the last part of games is every NFL game comes down to the last drive, right?
Yes.
Like, this is what you need to be working on. This is just critical, and you're falling apart at that moment. And you can't do anything, man, after you watch a game like that. But the head coach stands in front of the room, and it's his responsibility to get his team ready for those moments to win the game. And again, we talked about pregame. What does Justin Fields need to do in the last 7 games to convince Ryan Poe's, Ian Rappaport's report to not take a quarterback if they have the first pick of the draft? And look, that's -1 now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, let's try Jay. Jay is on the south side. Hey, Jay.
Hey, y'all, man. What up, man? Hey, I'm drinking Hennessy, so I'm listening, but I'm not too sad about the game.
You should be drinking Tullamore Dew.
Is this Fred Baxter?
Look.
Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, man.
And definitely Olin Kreutz. Man, if we wasn't on the radio, I'll tell y'all my N-words, but we're on the radio, so I can't say that right now. But
well, I mean, you've made the correct decision to crawl into your cups a little bit. I think that if I was the coaching staff, I'd be doing that on the way home, frankly.
Mm-hmm. No, you got to drown those sorrows.
But look, I think it's. Look, I mean,
All right, Jay. Thank you for the
Jay
call.
Communicates like me after a few. I tell you, it's exactly what I sound like, man.
Hey, I understood every word you always said about line
what
dinner.
Jay's trying to say. It's like you're halfway through your conversation. There's so much you want to say, you just can't even get it out anymore, right? So, the frustration, man, it's real.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is an Irish whiskey called Mulligan, believe it or not, and it is kind of tastes like Southern Comfort. And my mother's maiden name was Hennessy. So I've come by this honestly, my opinion.
It was a Hennessy kind of loss, right?
That's 100%.
We used to have a teammate, Fred Baxter. He used to serve Hennessy on a plane after losses.
Oh, is that
just
right?
like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Great French cognac. John is in Dallas. Hey, John. Uh-oh. You okay, John?
It's a Hennessy kind of night. It's a Hennessy kind of post-game show.
John must have.
John, you there?
Sleep.
You there, John? Just the moan.
Sleep.
He's done with the moan. Let's try Frank. Frank's in East Chicago.
All right. How's it going, guys?
Well, it's still
Good,
early.
Frank. Thanks for not partaking too much Hennessy when you call us.
Yeah. Well, Olin, man, you are a real bear. Let me say this, man. I'm somewhat older than you. I remember Gale Sayers, Brian Piccolo, and of course Dick Butkus. I watched those guys play. I also had the privilege to go to the Super Bowl and be there. I actually scalped my way into the New Orleans Superdome. And I stood up that whole game. It didn't matter what seat I had. I just stood up and watched it. Okay. I have some things to say that our coaches changed, and it really starts from the play when there was a 3rd and 1, the drive where we kicked that last field goal, our last field goal. Okay, 3rd and 1. Why did they go into this not to lose mentality? Do what you did the whole game. Play like you were playing like you. I mean, this is a morale booster for the whole team if you let them play. It's not like we're gonna lose the playoffs if we not, we're not even going to the playoffs. So let them play loose. Let them play loose. They were there.
You wanted them to go for it on 4th and 1? Is that what you're saying?
No, it shouldn't have been the 4th and 1. That play they called on 3rd and 1.
Okay.
Remember? When they didn't make it, and then they kicked the field goal?
Yeah.
They tried to sneak.
Yeah.
I would have liked the zone read there, too. Spread the field and zone read them and put it in let Justin Fields read the DN.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Actually, it should have been 4 interceptions if Johnson got that pick 6.
Yep.
Yeah, it could have been 5. There was another one down by the goal line.
Right. It wouldn't have even been close enough. I mean, it's like, you know what, Fields, I'm going to cut off your arm over here and cut off your leg over there, and I want you to come and win the game in 30 seconds. No, it shouldn't have even got to that. It shouldn't even got to that point. We can't put that on Fields didn't do what he needed to do. No, the team let him down. The coaches let him down. Getsy let him down. Eberflus, they let him down. They let him down. Were they trying to sabotage the game or something? I don't understand. And, playing that I'm scared now. You got players on there. I mean, you got players who are playing for something. Some may get injured and never get another contract. You never know.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Frank. I mean, there's
Mully
a lot.
And Pat,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, there's a lot riding on the season, even the last 7 games. That's all.
Yeah. I got to be honest. On that 4th and 1, I thought the same thing. I thought you're out of the playoffs. Even what Frank said, I know you go up by 9. But I thought, again, I want to evaluate Justin Fields and can he make the critical plays. And I thought give him the ball. Give him the ball and go for the first down. That was I understand the smart thing to do. I understand you go up by 9. But I thought at that moment, man, everyone talks about Dan Campbell going for it on 4th downs, believing in his team, changing the culture. I honestly thought that on the couch. I know what the smart thing is to do, but I'm gonna again. We talked about. I forget when it was in this season, but we talked about going to Justin Fields like Harbaugh went to Lamar Jackson and said, "Do you want to go for it here? Mm-hmm. What play do you want to run?" And that way you hand the team to Justin Fields right at that moment. And he said, what do you think we should do right now? And if he says run a play, I ask him, what play do you want to run? And I put the ball in his hands and I say, go get the first down. Go get it for me and put this game away.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say I was the opposite because I was like, just get a win. But in hindsight now, you talk about it and I get it. Yeah, shoot, do it, go for it. But during that situation, I'm like, they kind of got this game in the hand. The defense have been playing well. They've been moving the ball. And so I felt, okay, just take the points, get the lead, make it a 2-possession game. But in hindsight, right, I'm not saying that you said or saying in hindsight.
No, you're exactly right.
That was just my thought. Right. That was my thought. That like, hey, just get this darn win because nobody picked them. They were 8.5-point underdogs. And if you can walk out with a win, that builds a lot. But then what they did in the last 4 minutes and 15 seconds changes the entire narrative.
But that's the one that put them up 9, not 12.
Oh yeah, right? 9, right, 9. Yes,
and that's 9. The point I think is that you're only up 6. If you miss that, they get the ball in I don't know, decent territory, and if they score a touchdown, they beat you. It just seemed like a no-brainer. But I like that mentality because I think you have to accept that you are going nowhere, that you aren't going to be able to. You need to get questions answered, and maybe you need to approach decisions in that fashion. Maybe
that changes going forward.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something they have a discussion about. That like, hey, we need to, make different decisions in different scenarios. Maybe that's something that happens in the coaching room. But I want to bring up, Frank brought up Jalen Johnson, and we talked about him in the pregame, right?
Yes.
We said who has the most to gain for the next 7 games. I think he hurt himself. He had the big pass interference.
Yes.
And then your playmakers, the ones you're going to pay the money to, right? The ones that are going to make the differences in the games and could have really sealed that game, could have taken 7 points, could have flipped the game 14 points because it would have taken away the touchdown they had, and he could have probably most likely was going to take that in for a pick 6. You want to see your playmakers, the guys that you're going to pay all that money, top corner money to, make that play in that situation. and it's unfortunate he didn't. And I think he dropped another one where I think he slipped a little bit going for it, and he could have had it as well. But that to me hurt him in my evaluation of him if I'm Ryan Poles.
Yeah, man, that sucked for him, right? Like you're cheering for him at that moment,
Yes.
right? Like you know his preparation, the way he works, the way he gets ready for games, put him in that moment, man. Put him in that moment to make that catch, and you're really cheering for him to make that damn catch and get paid his damn money, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what you want for him. Like you're talking about, Pat. It just seemed like again, the reason Ryan Poles is not giving you the boatload of money that you want, all those reasons showed up in one game, right?
Yep.
They all showed up right there. And you know, as former players, man, you feel bad for him. I'm sure his teammates do. But that the kind of league we're in is you can feel bad for a guy and still say the truth. You got to make those plays if you want to get paid.
I mean, that's what the coach is saying to him, right? And like you said, like his prep, I mean, he made a perfect break on the ball. Like he knew the route and everything. But if you want to be paid as that top corner, you have to make that play. And I'm cheering for him because I want that great corner. I want that guy that's going to change the game. Maybe at the in the fourth quarter comes up with a big pick and stops the drive and gets the ball back to the offense. But it stinks to see that happen because those are game changing plays. I mean that's 14-point swing there.
Yeah,
that could have been there.
Yeah, he would have been had a field in front of him because whoever I think it was Amon Ra St. Brown. And he was basically tackled by whoever else was nearby that play, thinking he had caught the ball. That guy was never going to get up and chase Jalen Johnson. So it would have been it was a huge play in the game, and it was just a missed opportunity. Yep. Let's try Todd. Todd's in Dwight. Hey, Todd.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, real quick, I wanted to give both Olin and Patrick something to be happy about. So, Patrick, if you get a chance, go and watch the Jaguars, their long snapper, Ross Matisik. I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
Yes.
He made an unbelievable tackle, forced a fumble, recovered it. So I know I don't have to tell you, don't let anybody ever say long snappers aren't football players. And Olin, if I'm not mistaken, your son played at Loyola and you're coaching at Mount Carmel. You got 2 teams in the state championship next week, so feel good about things. But the question I had is, with Justin Fields, man, when do you stop as former players trying to explain why guys aren't good or making plays and just come to the conclusion maybe they're not good? And last but not least, I've got a 10-year-old, and you've all been parents, you too, Mully. We've all had to sit through some middle school games, and your poor post games. It's kind of like parents after a middle school game. You sit around and you watch, and you know it's awful.
You feel our pain.
It's awful. It's awful, and you talk to each other like, oh, well, that kid made a nice play, and that kid, you watched an hour and a half of garbage, and then you try to convince yourself there were 6 or 7 plays that were okay. And last but not least, never touch the stuff, guys, but I think I'm going to go get me some Hennessy. So you guys are awesome.
Thanks, Todd. Olin, congratulations on Mount Carmel, buddy.
Yeah, Mount Carmel, yes. I think we have to congratulate Coach Lynch down there at Mount Carmel. Yeah. We're Carmel. We lost, but I appreciate him trying to cheer us up.
Yeah, and Loyola. Congratulations to Loyola. They got past York.
Coach Hollisek built that program that is still strong after he leaves, and they got great coaches there, great kids, and doing a really good job there as usual. As usual at Loyola, they have a great football program and a lot of support there.
Let's try. Where are we? I'm sorry, guys. I believe it is Zach. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Bob. Bob is in Joliet. Hi, Bob. Zach's next.
Hi. Don't fire Eberflus or Getsy. Let them embarrass themselves the last 7 games of the year, so they never coach in the NFL again. Defensive line. I've heard Sweat's name once and with a sack. That's it. Yep. Did the defensive line show up, and did Ngakoue play?
Yeah, they had 2 sacks, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot better than most games, so I'll give him credit for that. And Sweat did have that nice sack on the boot and showed his athletic ability to be able to, chase down Jared Goff. But again, he was going against Penei Sewell, who might be the best right tackle in the league, and that was a fun battle to watch. I think Sewell won most of the game, but one sweat for a DN. That's what you ask them to do, right? You get one tackle or one sack, and that constitutes a good game. So, the D-line to me, I thought they they raised their play against a darn good O-line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. Until
go ahead.
Final point: if Holmes drafted Jalen Carter, what changes to this year would be? Thank you, guys.
To be more.
Well, the offensive line would be struggling, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's the truth too. Darnell Wright has done a really good job. Obviously, he gets beat late in the game there, but he's really solidified. That he's been steady there on that offensive line. Now, Jalen Carter, he's a monster, and he's someone they need. Although Javon Dexter has shown up on our TV screen, guys.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks, nickel rusher. Today he beat Penei Sewell with a nice hand swipe. I don't know if the running back chipped Penei out of the way, but he did. And Javon Dexter got home a couple of times. Again, like with this whole game, we thought we were going to come on and talk about how impressed and how much better that defensive line was, right? And how they slowed down the Lions' run game, and how they got enough pressure on Goff and made him really uncomfortable to where he had to throw into those tight windows that the zone the Bears play. And instead, we have to talk about something else because they fell apart in that 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yep.
I thought it was kind of cool that Montez Sweat had his first sack as a Bear, against a great player. They called him a multiplier when they got him, and I think the line has played better with him. He's a guy that you have to be aware of and you have to game plan for, and I think he's a good player. I don't understand why you'd come away from that game saying the defensive line didn't do anything.
Yeah,
they weren't supposed to, first
I agree. I agree. That's why I was saying, you're right, all up until 4:15. I thought they had a pretty good game. I think they held them to maybe 80 yards or 75 yards rushing up to that point when I checked. And, they reeled off more. I guess they finished with 115 yards, I guess, rushing. But, that was one of the things I was like, wait, they're playing pretty good against, Dan Pompei talked about, or no, Lomas Brown or whoever was talking about, they might be the best offensive line in the league. And I thought they held their own. And I thought that was one of the positives that we were going to be talking about. Look at what the D-line did. They got 2 sacks. That's better than 0 they've had most of the year. But again, it's just that end of the game, the defense fell apart, and the offense couldn't get it done.
Let's try Zach. Zach's on the west side.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's an honor to be on the phone with you guys. But I really enjoyed today's game. What I didn't enjoy was the play calling. I think that when you bring in a coach like Harbaugh, somebody who knows offensive aggressiveness versus, let's get up to a certain amount of points and then let's let the other team catch up and possibly win, and take our foot off the gas. That's the type of offense that we have now is let's show, and then take our foot off the gas. And then now we're in a situation like we were in today where we lose the game. I think when you bring in a Harbaugh-type coach, he's aggressive. He's going to get those points. The third down where they went for it and the push, run, and that just wasn't effective. And they didn't go for it on the 4th down. So it's like, why even call a play like that? I just think that, the lack of aggressiveness about this and consistency with this team is what's going to ultimately doom the Bears. And look, take a page from the Cubs. If you can let go a decent coach and get a top-tier coach, that's what they need to do. They need to stop sitting on their hands, and I hope Ryan Poles have a good plan. I like him as a GM. Some of the picks he has, grown to really nice, good players. But I just think this is the year. This is the off season where he pulls a Cubs, pulls a Jed Hoyer, and go gets a bona fide coach, and then put Justin in the position. You know what I mean? Because you can't leave a rookie right tackle against a defensive stud. He should always be double teamed on that last drive. So, those are the glaring mistakes that Olin Cruz, that, you guys that's Hall of Fames can see that. And if you guys can see it and the regular fans can see it, then Poles has to be licking his chops at the next Jim Harbaugh because he's coming out of Michigan. Hopefully it's to Chicago. Thank you, guys.
What do you think?
Yeah, what he's talking about, that 3rd and long play call. I mean, that to me, that's coaching, right? during the week, you're supposed to put yourself in those situations mentally of like, what happens if we get down in the fourth quarter and we've got a 3rd and long? What is our best call? Who are their best players? How do we defend, or how do we take care of them? And that's a glaring mistake by Luke Getsy, in my opinion, that not helping out Darnell Wright on some of those plays. And just it's that to me, that falls on coaching, and that's a good call there by Mark.
You know, it's just, and like Pat, so much goes into the organization of a play, right? So what we don't know here, while we're talking about it,
right? Yes,
you got to get a chip on Aiden Hutchinson in that moment. Yes, that is, it's really a big mistake if that was coaching. You know, Aiden Hutchinson was switching sides some of the game. Now, I don't know if Justin Fields is supposed to move the chip over, right? Is he supposed to move Cole Kmet over on 1st down there and give Darnell Wright some help? Who's supposed to recognize that? Is Cole Kmet supposed to just move over there and see him? And Justin Fields doesn't have to move him. Look, Cole, we're putting you out there. Wherever Aiden Hutchinson is, you have a chip flat, right?
Yep.
Chip him and move to the flat, or chip middle, chip and go to the middle of the field. So that is what we don't know when we're watching this, but it just all comes back to this. Eventually, all those mistakes, no matter who you can blame, falls on somebody's doorstep, falls on the head coach's doorstep, and then eventually all the times that this has happened through all the games. We talked about Justin Fields now being 1-8 with the ball in his hands at the end of games in the last 2 years, right? When all these, and then we can blame everybody, right? You can blame Emir Smith-Marset, you can blame EQ St. Brown, you can blame Darnell Mooney, you can blame Tyler Scott, but eventually, man, you can blame the O-line, but eventually I got to see you make a play like when Dan Feeney's snapping you the ball, right? And Larry Borum's at tackle, you step up in the pocket and you're a multiplier and you hit DJ Moore for a touchdown. I need to see that at the end of the game.
It's a great point. It was a great play. It was his best play of the game, but you needed that whenever. Okay. Great stuff. We've got...
Hey, Mully, real fast. I wanted to say, when he was yelling at Dan Feeney, I thought to myself watching, he's yelling at Dan Feeney, do you know the snap count? And Feeney probably was just saying, no. All right, I don't. I just got it.
I don't even know
listen, you're supposed to go on 2. You're supposed to go on 1. And Feeney was like, I didn't know all that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You've had those conversations before?
Oh man, Pat, he's like the 4th string center. You know what I mean? Like, and Cody Whitehair just said, like, hey, I ain't playing center anymore. So someone else go do that.
Right. And they did re-sign Kramer, right? He was available and he's on the practice squad. Maybe
he'll be up next week, and eventually everybody in Chicago's got to admit they miss Sam. You know, they miss him. That's okay.
Oh yeah, that's your guy. That's it.
Yeah. It's true, man.
I know.
You could have had him easily.
He understood everything that was going on around him, which is a rarity on that offense. Okay.
No, all right. Hold on, real quick. Think about that. If you did have Sam in this offense with the guys next to him,
no doubt.
Right, Olin? You've talked about you're better with good guys next to you. As smart as he is, like I love it, his physicality, all that kind of stuff. It would have been a perfect fit for this O-line.
Well, they've gone down this. They've been struggling at that position, right? And Lucas Patrick does a pretty good job when he is in there, right? I would say, like, if your back is bad, stop all the jumping around and celebrating in the end zone. Save your back.
He did get hit pretty hard while trying to make.
Man, I tell you, better keep your. Hey, I seen Jay Cutler threw an interception in San Francisco, man, and Orlando Pace. I knew it was the end, man. I've seen guys get hit, Pat, on interceptions. I've been hit on interceptions, man. You have to keep your D linemen are frothing at the mouth when they get interception. They're looking for you, man. And especially if you play football like I play football, where you're a little bit on the edge, guys want to take your head off at that moment.
That's one of the funnier things to watch the all-22. If you went like one of the side, like just go to when there's an interception thrown, go look at the O-lineman. Their heads just going back and forth, left to right, left to right, left to right.
Hey, look at the veterans, Pat. They know.
Yep, exactly, exactly.
Sometimes awesome. You might just go to the ground, but you don't want to put that on film.
Right, right.
Oh, it's awesome.
No, but we hope Lucas is okay, man. Because you see, they miss him.
Yeah,
they miss him when he's not out there.
Yep. No question. All right, we've got to take a break. You're listening to the Scores Great Clips post-game show. It's presented by Tullamore Dew, and we'll be right back on The Score.
Bears season means you can count on the score to take you inside the locker room tomorrow morning. Get reactions from the Bears' #1 wide receiver, DJ Moore, at 8 with Mully and Haugh. Then at 5, it's cornerback Jalen Johnson with Parkins and Spiegel. On Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m., it's safety Jaquan Brisker with Bernstein and Holmes, taking you inside the Bears locker room all season long on Chicago Sports Radio.